here's a little preview of what we're making today. Hi everybody, welcome back to Flower Club. We have a very fun selection of flowers today, Australian natives, one of my favourites. We have a beautiful selection of native flowers this time and some gorgeous colours. We've got some gorgeous eucalyptus gum, some really cute billy buttons and some beautiful straw flower. Alrighty, and I'll be designing into my trusty white ceramic vase today. So we'll get started with our prep. So for our gum, this actually came with really not much going on the stem. If you do have any foliage on the stem, be sure to remove those. And I'm just going to go through and look for any little kind of broken stem, and most importantly, look for any new growth. In springtime, with our foliage, it means that they have a growth spurt, which means that a lot of our cut foliage does have new growth on it. And the new growth are the tiny kind of immature leaves you see coming off the tip of the stem. And these just aren't developed enough to last after being cut. They'll just shrivel up, turn black and die. So we're going to kind of skip that phase, and I'm just going to trim them off. You'll be able to see they're either really teeny tiny like that, or even the ones that are a little bit more translucent. So you can just snip them off. And then I'll just also look for any that have looked like they've been chewed on by a little animal. The gum can be perfectly fresh, but if it does have the new growth, the immature leaves, they will shrivel up and die no matter how fresh the gum is. So it's not an indicator of how old the gum is or how fresh the gum is. It's just part of nature. Not sure if you can see something like this, a mature leaf. It's nice and green and opaque. And something like this, it's a bit more pale in colour, almost has a little bit of a pinky orangey tone to it. And you can feel that it's a bit more floppy, not as sturdy. And then the ones at the very tip you can obviously see are just much smaller, so we'll get rid of those as well. Now our billy buttons, native to Australia and New Zealand, and they've got this beautiful colour. They look like something out of Dr. Seuss, like out of Horton Hears a Who. They have a little bit of foliage. It might be kind of shriveled up. They don't actually need water to stay like this with their beautiful colour. They dry completely like this, like they're frozen in time. So any of this dead, shriveled looking foliage, we can just get rid of that. And our straw flower. Straw flower is probably the most involved stage of the prep. They have a lot of leaves, a lot of little heads, and they take a little bit of time just to get looking nice. A stem like this, for example, lots of foliage, and then lots of little stems with the blooms coming off. You'll see that the foliage is turning black. That's normal, don't worry. But the wonderful thing about straw flower, they're also called everlasting daisies because they truly are everlasting. The stem will eventually kind of die and you can dry them really easily, but the stem will also kind of turn black. But the beautiful flowers you'll see will remain just as beautiful as you see them now for years. They don't die. They're also called paper daisies. Don't know if you can hear this. They sound like paper. It's like they're made of tissue paper or something. They're a very interesting flower, but they're also native to Australia. We save these little flowers over the year, and then around Christmas time, we create wreaths with them, which are on our website if you want to check them out. So I'm just going to go through and patiently, thoroughly, pretty much all of the foliage, because it does turn black. Like I said, the tips are kind of already turning black. And I don't really want to have a leaf that's kind of turning to be distracting from all the beautiful colour. So usually with something like this, we could just strip it like that if it's, a rose or something. But these are pretty heavy-headed. So I usually just like to go bottom to top when I'm prepping rather than stripping top down. This way I'm not at risk of breaking the head. I have a little bit more control. All right, so I have prepped all of my ingredients and I'll start designing. Start with my foliage. So I've got kind of one big bushy piece and one little guy. Start with the big bushy piece. Oh, it's got a little funny curve to it. So I had to play around with my gum. I'm just doing kind of a nice fan, letting the natural curve of the gum do its thing. And for my design, I'm going to do my billy buttons kind of up high because I have such beautiful height. I mean, look at them go. And then my straw flower will be popped in the center here. And these will open up as well. You can see they're pretty tight at the moment, but then they open up and they have a beautiful kind of pink center. They come in lots of different colors. There'll be yellow, we have burgundy, pink, white. Let's see how tall it will be if I just plonk it in there. Huge. So the same thing as we would normally do, bring it to the edge of the bench. That's how I like to do it. Measure against the vase, snipping off the excess. All right, so I've started with a little trio. The rules of the three. The three is nice. And you can see I've done little steps. My floristry teacher, I said, it's like fairy steps. Imagine a fairy is stepping down into your design. So it creates a nice line for the eye if they're all stepped down at different levels, rather than having them all straight across or in a line up and down, side to side. You know what I mean? So boop, boop, boop. Alrighty, and I'm going to keep going. Got another 1, 2, and I'll put a third one just up here. Measure against the vase, snip off the rest. In it goes. Might even be a bit too tall. Why are you moving? All right, I'm going to stop there with my billy buttons for now and start putting in some of my straw, which will create a nice little straw pop right in the middle here. I love straw flower. It's very textural, obviously. It's super spiky, and also I just love anything that doubles as a dried flower. It's really like a 2-for-1. So I've been placing all of my straw flower facing forward. They come with pretty stiff stems, but they do sometimes get a little bit floppy, but it's really not that big of a deal because the flower doesn't die. And there's a way, as you can see, this one's a little bit floppier than the rest. And a great way to counteract that is by grabbing another stem as support. So we're going to go like this. And that's kind of what I find the best way to make sure that you're making the flowers work for you. So you can see here, we're going to pop that one there, and then that is giving it a little bit of support and it won't be floppy anymore. So now I've popped that one in there and it's propped that one up a bit. And I also do like to manipulate these in another way. See how this kind of has arms that are waving? I kind of squeeze them together if I want it to take up a little bit less space, because I want this one to pop in just here, but I don't want it to have these like, hey, arms going on. So I'm going to squeeze them together a little bit so that they all kind of find their place in the way that I want them to. I've placed all of my straw flower in a bit of a diagonal wave, and I've allowed some to sit out a little bit further like this one and dropped some a little bit lower, just to have a little bit of dimension going on. And I'm going to finish off with placing my beautiful, cute little billy buttons. Where do I want you? I'm going to add a couple more at the side here and a couple more at the side here, and then maybe a couple coming up out the top, nice and tall. And the great thing about this design is once it's dried, once you've enjoyed it, all of the beautiful straw flower have bloomed up, and you can dry it. You can just transfer it. You can dry it like we did, tie it off, hang it up. You can just place them somewhere to dry. So you can bind the stems together, hang it up upside down, and then pop it into a vase with no water, and it will just last like this. It'll be very beautiful. The stems of the straw flower might go a little bit floppy, so you might need to do our trick where we got a little bit of support from the other stems around it, or put a little bit more gum under here to keep them nice and upright. And if you wanted to, once you've enjoyed it, you can give it to someone as a Christmas present. Alrighty, and I'm all done. So this is the final arrangement. I love the colors. Pink and yellow is one of my favorite combinations, so I'm loving this. And this is going to be a beautiful one to keep around your home for however long you want to have it around. It'll look beautiful forever. So I hope you enjoyed. Send lots of photos into the Facebook group. I'd love to see them, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.